Unmute your microphone. Ah! I'm just kidding. I was expecting it that time. I was expecting it that time. It didn't scare me. What's up, everybody?
Scared me.
Well, yeah, it's scary, dude. They don't know what I'm talking about, but it is scary. But what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the pre Super Bowl picks and preview pre-show.
We might have left out a pre there. I'm not sure.
I don't know. There's a lot to get to before the Super Bowl, man. I'm watching the Pro Bowl skills competition right now. Saw Lamar Jackson get 1 point in a quarterback accuracy competition. Quite impressive.
I told you.
It was a solid performance. I've got to say.
Good thing they don't base the MVP award on that tonight. You'd be in trouble.
Yeah, well, I mean, he had a pretty good season throwing at real things. Yeah. Just don't throw at those standing still targets. That's for sure. But what's going on, John? How's everything going? You there? No. All right.
Yeah.
Well, you are. How's everything going, my man?
Good. I'm ready, man. I don't know. Do you like the 2 weeks leading up to the Super Bowl? They're not going to change. They're not going to change it, but I'm just wondering if you like the 2 weeks or not.
I hate it. I understand why they do it, and I totally get it, and that's fine. I mean, it's to get people healthy. Obviously, you're going to take advantage of. I mean, when we went to the Super Bowl, you've got the NFL experience. I mean, this was back in the mid-'90s. I can only imagine it's a lot bigger now. But, I mean, you had the NFL experience, which was a whole week leading up thing. Lots of Hall of Fame stuff, lots of different interactive things that you could do. So it really is an entire, experience for the people that are going. So, I mean, to them, it probably doesn't really even feel that long. But to the people at home, I mean, it's frustrating. It'll drive you crazy. And then when the only thing you have to turn on is this god-awful skills competition and then the god-awful Pro Bowl this weekend, I mean, it'll make you crave some football, but at least you get two healthy teams in what should be a good game.
Yeah, that part I like. Let's some guys get some rest and recovery, and that way they can, if they are nicked up, they can play in the game, obviously. What now? Speaking of that, too, there's a petition making the rounds to have the Super Bowl on a Saturday. Did you see that?
No, that's so stupid. It's the whole. I mean, if you own a business, the day after the Super Bowl sucks. Your employees are going to come in hungover. They're going to be up all day. It's just what happens. Some of them are going to be furious because they lost, their rent money. On a prop bet, which, by the way, next week, I'll go on and plug this. Next week on the show, we are going to have the absolute most comprehensive prop bet forecast for you. We're going to cover all the ridiculously stupid prop bets that they have in the league because there's a ton of them, John. I don't know if you've looked at them. They're really funny.
Well, I haven't looked at this year's yet, but I've played some in past years and seen them in past years. So, I mean, if you can bet on it, it's going to be on the board. Let's just put it that way. It's pretty. Well, you'd be shocked at some of the bets you could place.
Well, next week we're going to cover all of them, all the way to how long the national anthem is, to the coin toss, to the player that scores the first touchdown, all that ridiculousness. We'll cover all of it next week. But as always, guys, please call in. Let us know who you think is going to win the Super Bowl. If you've got any questions or on anything that we touch on today, please call in and join the show. The link's right there. But John, I guess we'll dive right in. Yes, Todd, most of those prop bets are ridiculously stupid. That's kind of the point. They're so stupid. And you should not even really be allowed to bet on half of it, but I just love the fact that you can. America, I mean, woohoo. It's just lovely. But, yeah, they're ridiculously stupid, yes. But, John, we'll start off today's show. Well, I wanted to touch on something that you actually mentioned talking about today. And I never even really considered this, but then you asked the question right before we joined the show. And it has to do with Andy Reid. Now, obviously, everybody knows that he's Andy Reid. He's a legendary coach. He's one of the best coaches in the game. He has been for a long time. But he's always kind of also been known as that dude that gets Charlie Brown, like right before he gets the ball, they just take it away from him, and now he's got that chance to get the monkey off his back, actually win a Super Bowl. Granted, it's far from a given, but you asked the question, and so I'm going to ask you because I did not get your answer, but you asked, does Andy Reid have to win this game, to cement his legacy, to cement who he is as a coach and what he's accomplished? And, I'm going to defer to you because I want to know what you have to say about this, because I never even really considered it, but it is a valid question.
Yeah, I'm going to say yeah. He's the sixth winningest coach in the history of the game. And the five guys ahead of him all have something. What is it? Yeah. The Super Bowl ring.
Yeah.
So he's the first one on that list of all-time winningest coach that doesn't have a ring, and he knows it. Everyone else knows it.
Yeah.
This is why we're talking about it. Now, the only thing I'll say in his defense, and not the only thing I'll say, I mean, he is a great coach, like you said in the open.
He's a wonderful coach.
Yeah. The one thing I'll say, though, that he's got going for him, I mean, when you look at the Chiefs and Mahomes is very young, this is a team that could be the new Patriots in that AFC, being in Super Bowls 4 out of every 6 years. So if for some reason the Niners, and yeah, there you go.
That's it.
Yeah, if some reason the Niners win this Super Bowl, yeah, he's going to hear all those echoes come back out. But he also has the horses to be right back there next year.
See, that's why my answer to this question would be no, because I don't think. Now, granted, if you're talking about if he wanted to retire tomorrow, if this was the last game he's coaching, does he have to win it? Absolutely. I think he is so reinvigorated with this team. I think Mahomes is the quarterback that he's always wanted. I think this is the type of team he's always wanted. And let's be honest, you saw it at the championship celebration. The owners, the GMs, everybody, they love him. The city embraces him like no other. This dude is in an absolutely perfect position. I could see him coaching easily for 5-10 more years, a lot longer if he wanted to, if his health holds up. And I think this is a team, the Chiefs, that are going to be perennial AFC contenders for a very long time. So yes, he'd have to win it if this is the last game he's coaching, but no, if you're asking me, for the rest of his career, because I think they'll at least be right back here or right back very close next year.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think he wants to – obviously you want to win it this year, but I think for him he's looking at it too. If he can win it this year, he knows he's got the horses to be there multiple times, and he can go into next year without that distraction. If he loses this game, he still may be here 4 out of the next 6 years, but the next year starts off with, can Andy actually win the big game? He's got Mahomes,
right? Yeah.
He's got Kelsey, he's got Tyreek Hill, but he doesn't get it. When will it happen? And I think he wins it this year. Now he goes in the next year. Hey, let's repeat and that topic's off the table forever. And
see, but that's where I kind of worry, because that's where some people can get very complacent. Andy Reid doesn't strike me as that type of guy. But you almost wonder how he's going to react and how the team's going to react after they win one, a la the Eagles. You never really know exactly how players are going to react to winning the Super Bowl, which is an interesting side topic of the game in general. But I don't know. It was a very interesting question that you asked that I never even really thought about, because I never considered him leaving. But, his legacy alone, I know he's tired of hearing the question. You can see it in his face. So I don't know, maybe they'll win it Sunday, but we'll move on now, man. And I wanted to take today. First off, I wanted to get your opinion on the line, because obviously we'll make our final picks a little closer to the game right now. But the Chiefs have pulled ahead in this game, at least in terms of Vegas. And the Chiefs right now, it's hovering between 1.5 and 2 pretty much between 1 and 2. Last I saw, it was actually at 2. But is Chiefs at 2, at least looking at it right now to you, is Chiefs at 2 the right line?
Yeah, I think so. I would put them as the favorite. I know the Niners defense is the real deal, but the Chiefs offense is the real deal. So we got two real deal sides of the ball, but the Chiefs, the Chiefs can score quick, and I think that's why they have to be the favorite. The 49ers again are more of they can score too. They're not as high powered. They're gonna run the ball. Jimmy G, Jesus, the whole playoffs, he's probably thrown 14 passes combined. So what's that tell you? They're a running team.
Yeah,
so they're gonna take more. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I said we're going to look at that here in just a moment. Yeah. How good of a running team they truly are.
And so they're going to chunk time off the clock. So
that minus two doesn't make you kind of look at San Francisco and be like, damn, 2 points in a Super Bowl. Super Bowls are normally, if it's going to be a good game, it's going to be a 1 or 2 point game. That line, when it skews up over to 2, if you go to 2.5, I'm almost, even if I expect the Chiefs to win, I'll put a bigger bet on the Chiefs later down the line. But you almost have to put something on San Francisco at that point, don't you?
Yeah, you could hedge your bets.
I mean,
I look at it this way. If it's a blowout, I think it's the Chiefs blowing the Niners out. I don't see it the reverse. Yeah. I'm not saying that the Niners can very well win this game, no doubt about it. But I think if San Fran wins, I think you're looking at a closer game. I think if this game turns into a blowout, it's with the Chiefs winning. I'd be shocked if the Niners blow out the Chiefs. So, I guess it depends on which side of the fence you fall on. If this is, at this line with a -2, you might as well almost make it a pick'em game.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what it started as, and that just shows you that the initial money, at least that came in, was heavily in the Chiefs' favor. But I think when you see it skew this high, I think you're going to see it bounce back down this week. And I think come game time, you're going to see it probably right around 1. I could even see it swing towards, let's be honest, a lot of these big money guys aren't putting their bets in yet. So they're probably waiting to see if this touches 2.5 before they take San Francisco like I would. But I just wanted to see, we're going to, like I said, guys, next week we're going to be handling a lot of the betting stuff. It's just too early right now to make an actual genuine prediction. But, John, I wanted to touch on you've mentioned a lot, at least on Sunday and then some on this show today, about the San Francisco 49ers rushing. And we were going to talk about, the positional battles in this game because there's so many of them. And then I saw this stat and I wanted to show it to you. You're looking at the offenses. You're looking at pretty much the rankings for both teams and the comparison. And that rushing of the 49ers being all the way up at 2 to 23rd compared to the Chiefs is a massive discrepancy, and one that I think is known. But how big of a factor do you think the running game is going to play in this game? Because this is let's be honest. In a game like this, Damian Williams is going to have a decent game. Unless Tyreek Hill, they start doing some inventive sweeps, they're going to have to get something from their running game. So, what do you look at when you see that? What do you take away from this?
Well, you look at the Chiefs. They just played probably one of the best running backs in the league in Derrick Henry.
Yeah,
and did a pretty good job there. I don't think, I'm interested to hear your take, but I don't think any of the 49ers backs are Derrick Henry quality. So I think the advantage, if San Fran has any advantage, is that they use multiple backs, so that they always might have fresh legs. But I'm not anticipating a bad game from the Niners running game, but I'm also not anticipating that they're going to, do what their ranking says and be that good. on the
I was a
ground.
little shocked. San Francisco had gone up this high. This obviously
Yeah,
takes
I
into
wouldn't have
account
guessed that until
this
you
takes
put
into
that.
account the postseason. So this is taking into account, the last couple of games where they've just run all over everybody.
Yeah.
This is up to this game, but they're a lot more you see that offensive ranking obviously skyrocket up once their rushing goes up into really an incredible. I mean, on paper, you hear people all the time say, well, on paper, Kansas City's the more the better team on offense everywhere. I mean, if you look at everything, not really. I mean, they've got the passing game by a slim margin, but not the rushing. And so, I mean, dude, these numbers, and when you look at this, what's the thing that surprised you most and what stands out to you the most?
Yeah, I didn't think the 49ers were number 2 at rushing.
Yeah.
Honestly.
No.
I didn't think they were terrible, but I actually would have still thought they were maybe 10th, 11th, 12th, not 2. And so, just when you think you know everything, you don't. But I will say it's I don't want to say it's a phony 2. That's not really nice to them, but it's sort of I don't know.
I mean,
it's not a true
it
2.
kind of is, and some of these numbers are because, like, the 17th ranking for the Chiefs defense. Let's be honest, the Chiefs defense at the beginning of the season was fucking terrible. It's pretty damn good now, but there were a couple of weeks that they were awful. So, I mean, it doesn't take into account how you're playing now as compared to how you were playing in, August and September, but I don't know. Looking at this, there's a lot of stuff I've seen all week that makes me look at the 49ers a little bit differently. I'll put it that way.
Yeah. Well, look at the offensive rankings. Would you said that San Fran's 4 and Kansas City 6?
No.
And I'm not, and I'm going to be honest with you. I don't care what the rankings say. The Chiefs
are
agree with offense.
Yeah, I was about to say I don't agree with it either.
Yeah. So rankings. It's like the old saying. Everyone has a game plan until you get punched in the mouth. Well, everyone has a ranking until the players actually go on the field and perform and execute. So I'm going to take. I know they got the 49ers as the better offense, but I'm selling that. I'm not buying that one, and I'm not even saying the Niners are terrible. I'm just saying if you give me a choice between these two offenses, I'm not even thinking twice at who I'm picking. So, and in reverse, I'll take the Niners defense over Kansas City.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you, and.
Right,
so a couple other things I
don't know.
To get into.
I think the Niners are going to. I think the game plan for the Niners are going to be.
Still there, Mr. Newman?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep, we're good. All right. Well, there were a couple other things I wanted to get into today before we wrapped up today's show. And let's see, Scott, if the Chiefs stay healthy, do you all think they can go on a run like the Patriots have? Absolutely. If the Chiefs, Mahomes is only going to get better. I think Andy Reid stays there. I think this team, honestly, they can add their defense, I think, can only get better. This is a team that I think is going to be there for the long haul. I think it's going to be them, the Ravens. I don't think they're going to be on as long of a run as the Patriots were, because I think you're going to see a much more balanced NFL, at least in the AFC. So I wouldn't expect them to just go to a bunch of Super Bowls in a row. I think you're going to see Lamar Jackson get to a couple. You're going to see a couple other quarterbacks finally hit that. It's going to take a little while for someone to cement themselves on top of the mountain like that. Let's be honest, if we're comparing them to the Patriots. But yeah, I expect them to be perennially in the playoffs, in the AFC Championship game for a very long time. What about you, John?
Yeah, I see him. I kind of agree with Scott. I think it's going to be kind of what I said earlier. Like for the next 6 years, maybe they're in the next 3 or 4 where they make it. That's and like you said, the Ravens. I hate to say it, man. I'm not mentioning my Steelers here, but the Ravens and a team like that might be the one that that 1 year knocks them off, or there's a
Yep.
turnover late and they get
Yep.
in type of deal,
Yep. I couldn't agree with you more. Well, before we wrap everything up, man, as I said, guys, this is going to be a short show as we lead into Sunday, where we'll cover the Pro Bowl and all that exciting stuff and break this game down a little bit more. But, John, we just looked at all the rankings right there, and we've seen the comparison of the two teams. And the Super Bowl obviously comes down to, it's a massive game of matchups. And it's so magnified. I don't know. It seems to me that this is one of those games where there's not a lot of football games during the year where you can truly see like the matchups develop. They just don't get the proper attention. They don't feel magnified enough. This is one of those games where every single play feels, so important it's ridiculous. But when you look at all of those stats and everything, and you look at the roster of both teams, what's the most intriguing matchup to you, like leading up to the Super Bowl and up to the big game? What matchup do you think is going to define the Super Bowl?
I love this question. Great question.
Thank you.
It's that 49ers front line. They're monstrous.
Mm-hmm.
What are they going to be able to do against a high-powered offense with a guy that can move the pocket? He can move that pocket. He can throw on the run. They're going to make their plays. Mahomes is going to get sacked. And I don't think.
Oh yeah.
He's not going to. His uniform's going to be dirty.
So you don't think he can escape that rush? He ran all over the Titans. Now let's be honest, the Titans did nothing compared to the 49ers. But do you think the 49ers contain him?
I don't know if they contain him. I think they're gonna get their negative defensive plays. Yeah. But I guess my question back to you is I don't know if they're going to get enough to win this game, and that's why I picked this as the matchup. I think they're going to have their moments, but are they going to have enough of those moments that it wins the game for them? They did against Green Bay, but Rodgers is not Patrick Mahomes and doesn't have that burst, doesn't have those feet, doesn't have that same awareness, and Mahomes they design plays where it's not even pressure that makes him roll out. So
those runs against the Titans, man, a lot of those, that touchdown run, everything, those were basically quarterback bootlegs with the option to throw if Hill burns somebody. That's really what it comes down to, as he sends some people deep to stretch the field, has somebody cross, pull a safety, and then go. And I agree with you. D Ford, Nick Bosa, Quan Alexander, those guys are going to have a big game, and they're going to have a massive job containing him. But I look at another side of this when we're looking at the 49ers defense, and getting to Mahomes is going to be the issue, but I also look at, the corners, Sherman and Witherspoon for San Francisco. You hear Richard Sherman talk, and obviously his stats back up. He's an amazing corner. But if there's one thing that he's been burned on in the past, it's been just direct speed. And that's what he's coming up against in this game. Do you think the corners can hold up?
Yeah, well, I don't know if you saw the news this week. Richard Sherman and Darrelle Revis from his couch exchanging barbs. And I hate when Richard Sherman does this.
Me too.
Why even bother? Like you're about to play the biggest game of the year, probably your last one. If the Niners win this, I could see Richard Sherman saying, pull a Ray Lewis and say it's been great, and I'm going out with a second ring. I don't know why he engages it. He reads too much of what other people are saying.
Because he has this, for some reason, no matter, without all the success, everything, the back in his college, in his younger days, he was so slighted and had such a big chip on his shoulder. He just never got over it. Now, luckily, he's very well educated, smart dude. Incredibly smart, but somebody that has a massive chip on his shoulder, and it's never gone away. And obviously it's never going to go away. I don't think it goes away even when he's done. I could see him on in the announce room with Steve Smith, and both of them just bitching about their career. Both of them asking other places to retire their fucking jersey. Like, Steve, come on, dude. Like, he's gonna retire your jersey. You're Steve fucking Smith. You don't need to ask the owner. Jesus Christ. It's like, Steve, what are you doing?
There's a matchup on the screen at the same time. Holy smokes! I just got
Jesus.
in my
but
head.
I mean, that's what you're going to see pretty soon. And so, I just worry about those 49ers corners if Kansas City can give Mahomes time, or if Mahomes can buy himself time. Can they hold up?
Yeah, I'm. Richard Sherman's a very good player.
Incredibly good.
Yeah, but Darrelle Revis, whether he was on his couch or on the bike, the stationary bike, when he said that, he's actually right. Richard Sherman's not a true cover corner.
Well, neither of them, both of them are damn wrong. Neither of them are the best corner ever. Neither of them's name's Deion Sanders. So, I mean, I don't even want to, I mean, they have no argument, at least with me. Like,
Deion, there's some Redskins fans that'll tell you Darryl Green.
Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't argue with that either. I'd say he's better than both of them. But
yeah, and the silly thing is, Drew, that is, like I said already, why is Richard Sherman even entertaining this right now? Like, wait till the season's over and then come back at Darrelle Revis. And it's funny, if you read the thread, everyone was pretty much siding with Darrell. And that, Richard Sherman should see that and say, you know what, I got a game to play, and that's where where my focus needs to go back to.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I wish he would stop, but I mean, hell, his mom's doing it with him. I mean, they've got that chip. They're not letting it go. But before we wrap everything up, man, I got one more question for you, and it's another question that actually you had posed earlier in the week, and It's another one that I had never even considered. So I guess you kind of know my answer. But you look at Jimmy Garoppolo, obviously starting his career with the Patriots, backing up Tom Brady. He's been to a Super Bowl. Granted, he never touched the field. He held a tablet that looks very similar to this, just without the keyboard attached to it. But that's about all he did. But having been to a Super Bowl, having gone through the week and a half preparation, the media firestorm, just the whole circus that it is, and actually being on the field and seeing the actual game. You weren't in it, but you saw it up close and personal. Does it give him an advantage over Mahomes in this game?
I think it gives him an advantage only pertaining to all the off the field stuff.
Yep.
That's it. Once the game starts, these are two quarterbacks that have never thrown a pass in the Super Bowl. Yeah. And then it becomes down to who's going to be the better player.
Yep.
So I'm going to take Mahomes if you're asking in the game itself. But I think the advantage Jimmy G will have is all the balance of time, your itinerary. But that stuff doesn't really, once the game starts, it's kind of like when you see two, where I'm going with this, Drew, when you see two teams before the game, right? And then one of the teams on the sideline is jumping up and down and hoo-haing and ranting and chanting, right? And then the game starts, and that team that's hoo-haing, chanting, and the other team's kind of reserved. That reserve team might win the game and blow them out. So all that pregame stuff, once the game starts, it comes down to execution. Comes down to talent. Comes down to execution. That 2 weeks with that Jimmy G's been through before is not going to make crisper passes during the game and all that stuff. So the advantage is the off the field stuff, not on the field.
Yeah, dead on. It means absolutely nothing if you ask me. If it's like you said, he hasn't touched the field. He has no idea what this game's like. It was completely different teams. He did very little except for watch a scheme that he doesn't even play anymore. Shanahan's and Belichick's are nothing alike. And so I don't know. I don't give him any advantage other than he's had a couple more years in the league. I mean, that's the advantage I give him, is that he's more experienced overall. But I mean, Mahomes has proved time and time again that he's up to any of the challenge, and I don't see it changing. I think he's going to have an incredible game. I think Jimmy G is going to have a pretty good game, but I don't think that he has any big advantage over this besides maybe he's been through this type of media circus before.
Yeah, that's it. We can make, there's a flip side to that coin too, Drew, is Jimmy G, while he's not played, he's won. Mm-hmm. He's been on the winning side. How might he respond to adversity if they get down early?
Yep. Yep. That's a valid question, because I mean, we've seen what can happen when Kansas City drops down 21-0 or 10-0, but we have not really had to see that when we've been taking the 49ers as a legit championship threat. We have not seen that, and I don't know if they're the type of team. I'll be very curious to see when and if Shanahan abandons the run if they go down, because Shanahan is someone that has very complex game plans, and I don't know. I know this game is going to for him, he's going to want to dictate a lot of running, but I don't know if he's going to necessarily be afforded that option, at least from an optics standpoint. Now, obviously, you have to stick with it if you're San Francisco, at least in my eyes, but it'll be interesting to see if they do go down, how he, reacts to that.
It's funny. I was just talking about this. I'm just thinking about the coin flip and what each of these teams would do. If I'm Kansas City and I win the coin flip, I'm taking the ball. I want a 7-0 lead and put them in a position they're not always accustomed to being. And if I'm San Fran and I win the coin flip, I want the ball in the second half. I'll defer and hopefully get a stop and the ball in the second half. So it's funny, these two teams probably have different philosophies, even when it comes to the coin flip and how they want to approach the start of the game.
You nailed it. San Francisco wants to put their defense on the field, and they want to smack them in the mouth right away, because they've seen, trust me, they have looked at all the film. They have seen how slow Kansas City has started, and they want to go out there and blitz them on defense.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to happen. That's what they're going to attempt to do.
Yeah, it's funny. I don't know if that's going to be one of the prop bets, who has the ball first, but I think
will. It is.
I'm putting some money on Kansas City because I think if Kansas City, like I just said, if they win the coin toss, they're going to take the ball first. If the Niners win the toss, they're going to defer. So I see Kansas City with the first possession in this game.
It's absolutely a prop bet, dude. If a damn dog was walking across the field for any type of reason, there'd be a prop bet on if it shits or pisses on the sidelines. Like, there's a prop bet for everything. It's awesome, America.
I wonder if there's going to be a prop bet if that black cat from MetLife is going to make the trip to Miami and take the.
I don't know. We shall see. But anyway, y'all, that's going to wrap up today's picks and preview show. Like I said, we will be back on Sunday for our regular normal show, where we'll start breaking down next week's Super Bowl. And then next Thursday is going to be your all-inclusive look at all the prop bets. We're going in depth with all those shitting dogs and national anthem singing people, all that fun stuff. And then we'll give you our final picks for the game. But John, as always, it's a pleasure. And everybody, thanks so much for tuning in.
Yeah, thank you.